Microphone check. Is it working? Do I have audio? I just reset up my office a little bit differently, so I wanted to record from here, which includes having a camera in my office, not a webcam. So there's that. Anyways, I don't know where it should be. Right there work? Can you hear me? So oh, that's funny. Welcome, Farsight Technologies, and awesome. That's cool. Starting your path down the MSP. Let's see. Hello, Tom. From where? Ah, cool. Hey, Corey. Lots of people. All right. Catching up here. Colorado, all over the place. At least in a few minutes, I'm sure someone will say they're from overseas. Oh, I'm assuming you don't mean Holland, Michigan, based on your name. So actual Holland, not the Holland, Michigan that we have here. Anyways, what I'm looking for, and I'll pull some stuff up because we're going to jump into discussion because I don't have an absolute ton of time. But I'm finally, I'll make that announcement because I know it takes a few minutes while everyone gets in here, that I'm no longer homeless. I bought a house. Well, I bought the house before, but we actually got to move into the house. So the task of moving into the house has been integrated into all the other things I do every day. So that's actually why there was no video uploaded or even thought about yesterday. Well, I think about them while I was unloading boxes. So don't worry, I do plan to get to the topics, and we will cover those because they are questions that come up constantly. And one of them, as soon as I find the bookmark, I'm going to pull up first because it's just a cool bookmark, and it's a shorter discussion, which is going to be about the secure messaging. I kind of want to put some stuff to bed on this, and I figured, hey, why not bring it up here? Where did it go, though? I have to... Come on. I thought I dragged it to a bookmark. I may have too many bookmarks, but I don't know for sure. I know where I can find it. I'm going to go through the comments on YouTube. Would you guys like to go on the comments from YouTube with me together? So, comments I have not responded to. Let me share my screen. There we go. I'm not used to doing it in here, so slowly you'll get in there. Yeah, Detroit, I was not really part of the homeless problem, but yeah, that can be true. Oh, mention of hot sauce. I can't remember if I mentioned this last time, but actually make it full screen so it's easier to see. I won't lie, this hot sauce is stupidly good, and we now ordered a bunch more of it. Focus. There we go. Now you guys can... Oh, that reflection sucks. The pepper plant. This is a really good hot sauce. We've been eating a lot of this stuff. It's super good. Anyways, let's get back over to people. Oh, look, spam. I'll take care of the spam later. But there's specifically someone who sent a link on my Signal. This one. This was a good link. I like the way this comparison works. Now let me go back over here, and this link right here has all of the comparisons to popular messaging platforms in a nice form. And maybe I'll dig into some of these. I don't know. I doubt it because it's a pain. It's hard to really be objective with all of these because there's a few factors that don't fit on here, which is like usage and things like that. Yeah, spam. I've seen the spam song in my head going through comments. You have to mark the spammers and then ban them from the channel so they don't continue to do their thing. That happens. Anyways. Oh, awesome. You shifted from the Orbi Netgear to the PF Sense setup. Way to go. All right. So this right here, and I think I can drop links inside the message here. And what this document is a listing, and this is on the website, intellatechniques.com. I didn't really dig much into the site. I just thought it was cool. I don't know anything about this company. I just think this is kind of neat. It looks like some privacy stuff. Anyways, I what I found interesting was this list because it kind of breaks down across the board some of the things I've talked about. And I can't make a video about something like Signal with about 20 people asking, well, my favorite messaging app, or especially people who know obscure ones, my obscure messaging app isn't listed and things like that. So that kind of creates a bit of a problem for me, the reviewers. I would like to be comparative, but sometimes I can't. I just don't have time to try every one of these, and to really understand, you have to use them. But I thought this was at least kind of cool because you can see Signal, other than the red, I think is things that people are things they don't like. Signal uses phone numbers, and that's right away sometimes what kills it for people, but it's actually what makes Signal easier to adopt. And one of the reasons I reviewed it. And a few other the comments on the channel were specifically on the Signal video where, well, you said it destroys messages, but it can't really destroy messages, And they're trying to make the argument, if you're sending it to someone, well, they could have a copy. And I'm like, I'll file that under duh. At some point, you're just trying to split hairs with some of that, or even this person here. Signal's only valid if the other person uses it. Well, we'll file that also under duh. And I'm not sure if I should reply to those people's comments because they're not really helpful in any meaningful way. But at least I wanted to list out. I am aware of all the ones people comment on and tag me in Twitter, which started right away of tagging me in Twitter saying, hey, what about this one? What about this one? I'm like, they're hard to review because you have to use them. I have been using Signal for several years with a groups with the group feature, but groups of people. That even includes my family. That includes friends, personal friends, because I have tech friends and they're nerds, so they use it. And a little bit more further reaching security friends that I don't physically know as well, but I do chat with them sometimes. And because I actually have their phone number, communicate with on Signal. And I know the one that probably clicks the most green boxes is like the Matrix element, but their lack of adoption makes it really hard. So even if it was like super, met everyone's requirements that everyone's looking for, but that being said, if it does that, but then nobody's using it, it's just kind of like, so it's just a problem. Now, I do not use the messaging app for SMS with Signal. I only use it for talking to people on Signal. To me, Signal is a focused application for that purpose. Like, I'm going to be using it to talk to people on Signal, and that's it. Keep it really simple. I did see, and I thought this, and I'm not going to dive deep into this part, but they do list email. And one of the things about email is email was never meant to be secure. So yeah, I don't care about secure email. People ask me all the time about Proton Mail and things like that. I'm like, I don't know. It just, I don't look at email as a secure communications platform. It wasn't designed to be from the get-go. So unless I'm actually attaching something that's truly encrypted to the email itself, I always, and this is the way that I prefer to think about this, I look at an email as a communication that would have occurred in an open room. Let's say you're standing outside in public, or you're at even an indoor space, but you're in a public space. That is how I look at emails. They are something that potentially are said in a public space. No, you weren't supposed to eavesdrop on me, but you could have. And so I've never really thought about getting into any of the email in terms of encryption. It just doesn't, it's not something I really think a lot about. I just don't assume encrypted communications on email. What else I would say on this topic, though, is one of the other things that I've talked about a lot is this third-party audit line. That matters a lot with these companies, and there's a lot of no's on here, but that's something that matters a lot because especially when, I think it was actually funny because Steve Gibson pointed out someone had this new password idea. And everyone started tagging Steve Gibson, and enough people tagged him that he wanted him to review it. And as soon as he took it apart, he realized right away it was just implemented horribly wrong. So just because something was free and popular and people liked it until someone, in Steve Gibson not being anything more than just a programmer. It's not like he actually took the time to security audit, but just a brief review. He discovered there were some major flaws in its implementation. And this is the problem. Until someone really pokes at it, then it's not really been vetted very well. So whether or not you should use it, this is the topic that comes up every time a new network transport comes up. So I've always been a big fan of, when it goes through full audits and great transparency. I like things to start at being open source, but open source, just because you can look at the code doesn't mean someone has, but it gives them availability. And until it's been vetted and well vetted, then you can really think about using it. So that's my rant on that. Yeah, Steve was advocating for the 3-dumb router setup as well. I thought that was kind of interesting. William, thank you. You loved my SolarWinds talk. Yes, I did a talk on SolarWinds on Tuesday. That was a lot of fun. Anyone who registered for that talk, I don't have any registration link. Sorry. You can get full copies of that video. When I am a guest, I don't always have the option of releasing that video on my channel. I can ask them if I can. It might be an interesting one for them, but I don't know if they would let me. So it was a good conversation. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't know what SolarWinds' policy on there. And unfortunately, corporate companies who, host things, wrap things in policy and are always nervous about just throwing something out there on YouTube. So, yeah. Well, hold on. Where is the ban button? Remove. All right, there we go. People making noise. All right. Vinoth, thank you. Big fan, love the stuff. I appreciate it. It is greatly appreciated. Matter of fact, I can drag this window over here because I don't need, you got to see a fun bug. This happens in a weird way sometimes when you drag these around. This is part of the new Pop! OS and the way it, I moved the wrong window now. The way Pop! OS moves things around a bit is kind of interesting. There we go. So now I can see the chat. People can see the chat and things like that. Videos I will be doing at the new house is going to be related to some of the wiring and networking. We're still finishing it, but I will make some talk about it because that's all part of related to the home lab videos I have coming up. So that is definitely an upcoming video. It's gonna be everything related to home lab because people ask me what parts. I haven't done a review in a little while of it, but it's gonna be something I put together. I know a lot of people ask, like, do I buy this? Do I buy that? Do I get this rack? And away we go. What else do we have here? Oh, Pop! OS recommendation. Yes. I'm really liking Pop! OS, and I will tell you, I am really using the tiled Windows option heavily. Like, I really want to dive deep into this. And I'm going to make a tutorial on how to use tiled Windows because, I'm getting all the quirks worked out and things like that. It does have this weird thing it does when I split the windows. Like, if you've seen that in a few minutes ago when I shifted these around, I don't know how to file as a bug report because it's the way you let it go. You just have to let it go, and you don't drag it over as smooth as I'd like. But overall, it does work really well. No, I'm not using i3 window manager at all. I'm just don't care enough about that. Are there any no-install browser-to-browser secure messaging? Probably. I mean, there's probably something that you can do like that, but I mean, a lot of people say, why don't you run your own server? Well, that becomes a really big challenge of running your own secure messaging server just so I can communicate with it, and then getting people to load an app on their phone so they can communicate with me that ties to my server. If I really had some high-level communication I need to have with someone internally, sure, that's a neat idea. But I don't. Generally, I need something like Signal to rely on their servers to be practical. There is a level of practicality that needs to occur or no one's really using it, and that's something really to think about there. I have a double. That's interesting. Maybe I'll look for that later, but I'll do a search. I'll just add that to my notes of things Tom should search for. The person teaches photography? I don't know. I used to be a wedding photographer, so maybe there's a relation there now. So, yeah, these are too many secure messaging platforms. That's part of the problem, too. Google has enough of them themselves. Signal is nice because a lot of security people I know use it. It's been endorsed. It's been vetted. It's a nonprofit organization. Signal checks all the important boxes, and it's an easy way to verify who I'm talking to because I have to have their phone number. This is actually what's kept Signal slowly gaining while also not being caught up with spammers. Because once you had something, and this happened before it started falling apart, what's that other software that I like so much? I forgot the name of it. Keybase. This is what happened with Keybase. Once people started automating it, they had a big spam problem right away. And the spam problem is because, oh, cool, we got this, pseudo anonymous. We can just create a bunch of private accounts and all the privacy people are celebrating it. While at the same time, the spammers are going, yay, no difficult verification. Let's everyone jump on here and spam everybody by it. And this is the problem with some of those. So yeah, it's definitely, oh, yeah, you can use Unix talk via SSH. That's actually a good point. So, we're not losing the art of face-to-face communication. Not at all. That's a myth. Yeah, it can be a challenge to have family using it. I mean, when it comes to like my own family, they are more or less off the grid because they don't use technology. I am the odd one that I am deeply in technology, and my dad got a phone that is capable of text messaging this year and is not happy and doesn't like text messaging. So, and my dad's not that old, by the way. He's not like, he's 60s. So it's just not his thing. So it's even more challenging when the only way they like is normal dial-up phone. Like they have my dad has a landline. That's his preferred way to talk. Now the next thing I wanted to talk about, and what's titled here, is we got secure messaging and open source networking. Now this is a big challenge because the open source networking talk. Actually, we're going to squeeze this up a little bit. I'm going to move myself around. That work better? I don't know. I figured I'm talking to the camera, so I may as well be a little bit bigger. And I'll leave the chat over on the side here. Hey, welcome, Yates Networks. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you. I see anyone with the Lawrence Technologies. These are people who support and subscribe to the channel, so I'm greatly appreciated all of that. Oh, really? Signal's integrating into the open source Home Assistant. That's pretty cool. Awesome. So open source networking, the constant question that comes up, the question of, hey, where's that open source replacement for UniFi that does full stack management beautifully, has a nice UI, and then, is allows me to tie all these devices and manage my Wi-Fi and manage all this. And the reality is there's just not a good company out there. And this is something that I probably get the most comments and tags on Twitter on, or people DMing me, asking me for a replacement. And this is actually, until someone comes up with the kind of money it takes to start a company like that. And that's where there's a lack of appreciation from like the general public to the other people. I'm not saying this is an insurmountable task. I'm saying writing a full network management interface that interfaces with the network equipment, integrates with the hardware, gives you a UI for central management of things is a difficult task. UniFi happen to have the right formula and framework to get that kicked off and running to be where they're at. But an open source competitor has a major uphill battle. And the first battle is really writing the software for that. It's not that I'm saying someone can't. No one has really come forth to either put the funding behind it, put the effort behind it. And it becomes a challenge unless you own the hardware. UniFi is in that position where they own or design, I shouldn't say own, they're designing the hardware and the software under one roof. So that is what the convergence would look like. Someone has to be a hardware vendor that then writes the software to say, let's build that type of stack. I think it would be cool because they've got the networking stack so well built over at like pfSense. And again, at Untangled, both those companies have well-developed interfaces with lots of features. All you really need to do is jump into the hardware market, tip your toes in that a little. It's not an easy strategy, but if they pivot a little bit that way, then you could extend that interface and use some type of central management for it. I think that would be really cool, but it doesn't exist to my knowledge. I have not seen any real system. And this goes back over a little bit towards this next question people ask. It's kind of related, but people look for a really nice, because UniFi has a nice UI on top of their video interface, and so do a few other companies. Blue Iris, undoubtedly someone's going to mention it, but where's the big open source, scalable, high end with all the bells and whistles I'm looking for? You know, NVR system for recording, same problem. No one has really stepped forward and built that system to make it really good. It's a lot of work that goes into it. And I just want to address that it's not something that I wouldn't back or look at. It's just I haven't seen anyone really developed it. I think it needs a hardware vendor, maybe because the hardware vendors are usually well-funded, maybe a successful hardware vendor to jump into that market. But part of the problem is they never want to, there's not like a demand, the hardware vendors. The hardware vendors are usually more on the proprietary software side. And they don't want to go through and say, all right, let's build a platform that doesn't support just my hardware, but supports more hardware. And let's write all these interfaces to integrate into it and then give all the software away under an open source license. Well, if it doesn't proprietarily lock into only their hardware, they immediately start having a problem with it. So it kind of falls apart. I think that's why, because this is a discussion, like I said, that's come up a lot. I've talked to a handful of people in different areas about this, and they all kind of think a lot of the same thing. It's just, it hasn't come up. It's not something that's likely, and I haven't seen even real strong efforts in there. The closest I've seen is people who do a series of automation scripts, like with Ansible, and if you have Linux enabled devices, you can write scripts to help maintain and organize things. But because that is done, and this actually applies to even MikroTik, Edge, they all have command line interfaces. So, and so does Cisco, by the way, if you didn't know. But any of those companies, the network engineers I know, they write a series of scripts to get deployments done. They're not using a UI. And because they're just happy doing that, that stops right there. And they're going, well, I can manage my network. I can push configuration changes globally out. I can push a VLAN change. I don't really need something more than this command line interface to say, all right, add this VLAN tag. Here's my Ansible. Here's my playbook, or however they're doing it, and pushing it out to that particular fleet. Done. And that's kind of where, a lot of the network engineers are really in it. And by the way, a lot of people ask me to review like BIOS and things like that. It's all command line driven, and people are looking for, deep tutorials because its learning curve is so much harder than something that has a UI. So yeah, and in some ways, CLI can be easier to audit, but it really depends on how the UI is set up. So I've seen a lot of UIs that certainly make things harder than a CLI. That's where that design challenge comes in. And it's not going to be easy. I would not say it's an insurmountable task. But I would also say it's going to be very difficult. The cleaner and nicer, but also functional UI is, the more challenging it is to create. And that's the part people really need to kind of wrap their head around. Creating a really clean UI that gets a lot done on the back end, especially when it gets everything done that you're looking for, also means a lot of time and effort and thought went into designing it to make it work that way. So it's just one of those things that that's kind of my rant on. I don't know a rant, but it's more my discussion of this entire thing. So, yeah, someone says, on the secure chat topic, the best is hosting the server yourself. But it's impractical. I mean, honestly, the best secure thing is kind of what my dad does. Sit out in the woods and don't talk to people. You can easily make that's a really secure way to do it. He's certainly not worried about someone hacking the computer he doesn't have. So it seems like a great solution. And the same thing with host everything yourself and only have people talk to your server. Yeah, but I need to talk to people all over the place. I need to have a conversation with a security friend I have in Oregon. I need to have a conversation with a security friend I have somewhere else. And they don't have time to connect to my server every time I want to have a conversation. It's not practical for them. So you have to figure out the way of mitigating risk and, what's acceptable risk. Yeah, air gap yourself. There you go. That's a solution. The best way to secure data is not to have it. Well, this is interesting because this is, generally speaking, the solution that's been brought forth by Signal. Signal, I mentioned when I did the review how they respond to a subpoena. They can't give you things they don't have, so their responses are pretty much fruitless. They don't have that information, so they can't give and share that information. How did I end up a computer geek? Yeah, how do you go from farm to computer geek? I grew up on a small farm, and I spent a lot of time riding motorcycles and gardening stuff. No, yeah, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I just really, really wanted to do that. I was very determined. I don't know why. So, but if you go back through history, a farmer is the one that invented some of the first TV stuff. So there's that. Let's see what else we have here. I would not run. I mean, to me, a UI for Ansible doesn't really make sense. The Ansible's nice too. What do you call it? For what it does. So hypothetical, if you need to get a secure password to someone who won't install an app or even connect to the website, what do you do? I don't know. I don't give them the password. I guess that's if I have no secure way to send it, and I guess read it to them over the phone. I don't know. It hasn't really been an issue for us. We don't deal with, we're dealing with business support. It's pretty much a bigger focus. So we don't deal with people who refuse to use any type of communications of security. So it's not, they're probably not using a computer. So. Farmers has always had to invent things. Yes. Matter of fact, one of the things that is a big open source and right to repair problem is actually John Deere tractors. Pull that back up. So this has hit mainstream news. I mean, this is farmers fight John Deere over who gets to fix an $800,000 tractor. This is in Bloomberg Business. These are some real issues we're facing. It doesn't just us geeks wanting to repair tech devices. The right to repair is huge. And yes, for it's full circle to me mentioning living in a small farm. I lived in the Detroit area. I didn't live in a super rural area, but I'm a very different of my upbringing is the best way I can describe it. I'm not a farmer. I'm also not a automotive worker, which is a lot of my families as well. So, but yes, the right to repair is a big deal. Someone else said, "Is this my old studio?" No, this is my office. This is actually where I work. So, I gotta make sure things are hidden. I can leave this screen up. I can leave this up. If you want to know what where I'm actually seeing, so this is my office. But I don't have a way to exactly show you my office, but I can show you this. This is how I see things. I have 3 windows pulled up like this. So I have, I'm only ever sharing the middle one, but these are my notes windows, and I have a triple monitor set up. I have an office review. I may do an updated one, but it hasn't really changed much since I built it 3 years ago. So this is my office setup. There we go. It's an expensive tractor you can't fix. That's for sure. That is an issue. The secure private messaging app I was talking about the other day is Signal. So I seen someone ask that. Tesla is a little bit different because they're not releasing information, but hacking Teslas has not been stopped by people. They, at the very beginning, yes, Tesla did that. Tesla's actually swung around the other way, and Tesla has an entire hacker program now. So Tesla went from fighting people on the right to repair to going the other way and having, they'll even let you register your Tesla as a hacking device, or as, I'm sorry, not a hacking device, but being able to hack it. So Tesla's come a long ways on that. And I definitely think they were on the wrong and they've come around to being the right. So loving the Model S. Yes, the Model S is great. I have a Model 3, but that Model S that goes 0 to 60 in like 1.9 seconds is coming out. That looks pretty exciting. I do not seem to have the water retaining bumper flaw, but I'm not dug into that. Also, just because you can drive your car through the water doesn't mean you should. There's at least, I know it shouldn't come off, but also don't drive your car through floods. It doesn't just happen on Teslas, by the way. Tesla's getting highlighted for this. Partly Elon's fault for saying Teslas float and people driving through floods. But the reality is the bumper coming off, we've had plenty of flooding here. I've seen plenty of cars, one that didn't make it through the flood, but ones that did, it broke off parts. The aerodynamics of a vehicle are not the same as the fluid dynamics when you deal with a dense fluid such as water. It is enough to let the air out, but they do not have enough strength to deal with a thicker, more viscous fluid than air, such as water. So, yes, there are some real challenges. Yeah, that's just whatever. Way off topic. Former dairy farmer. I was not an animal farmer. We just grew, we didn't have any animals. We just had like crops, corn and tomatoes more than anything else. And some watermelons. Watermelons are good. What service would you recommend backing up? Backups for Linux are different. I mean, there's a lot of different options out there. First, you figure out what you need backed up. I don't back up anything. I have real-time backup with SyncThing of the things I care about, but I don't back up the system itself because I can just reload it and copy over my files. And for me, real-time backup matters because I never like to lose any data. Give an example, right? I was giving a quote today going back and forth. So as I was saving changes on this particular file to send over to clients, it's backed up in real time because as soon as I save it, attach it, send it, one, there's a copy in email, but that's besides the point. The document itself I was working on for this information for a client, as soon as I save it, SyncThing goes, hey, look, a change, and backs it up offsite. So I don't really think about backing up my computer much. It's just not, the documents that are important are real-time backed up. Everything else is, if it goes away, it goes away. It'll just reload it. I do a config backup. I grab the config files to things like, and I'll pull it up right now, like GIMP, for example. So I back up the config inside of GIMP, and that way when I do my live streams and things like that, it's like, cool, so this is how I do templates inside of here. And, you know, I back up that config file because I've got all the menus laid out, but they don't change, so yeah. Well, I back up VMs with Zen, yes. So if I do need the full backups, Zen works fine for that. That's just go here and log in. Settings, backups. Hey, look, backups. Successful. So that's how those work. I just let Zen take care of it. And then that gets synchronized offsite and away we go. So yeah, the VMs, I don't know if you're asking about my desktop or that, so wasn't sure. Document your process, set up the server, and you back up the data. Yep. RAID is not a backup. RAID is resilience. Resilience is not backup. So that is correct. Raid is not a backup. Maybe I should put that on a shirt. Raid is not a backup. Raid is resilience. I haven't made any new shirts in a while. That's on my to-do list. I got to come up with something creative. Raid is for uptime. Yeah, maybe that's probably. Yeah, that's our list. I'll make some more shirts. Raid is not a backup. Seems like a great shirt. Oh, what else do we have? I only have a few more minutes, and I got to go back. Offsite backup. Some of it goes more than just. I have one of the locations is my house, I should say. So it's not like my house is my offsite backup. It is a offsite backup. Why not replicate things in more places? Shirts come out randomly. That is correct. I'm not designing shirts is not our. I'm trying to find someone. Actually, I did talk to. I have a marketing video I'm releasing tomorrow. We already did the video, but we release it tomorrow, and we broke down some MSP marketing stuff. But I'm also trying to engage if I find the right people to design shirts or things like that, and employ them. It's not like we did a few, but we're kind of busy doing a lot of other things, so we don't always have time to do all of those things. Yes, LTS Kyle is the full-time employee and part-time shirt designer. So, and I think we also learned that backdat ass up is a that one got removed, I think. So we also learned that sometimes we get in trouble for putting things on there. Oh, Bitwarden. In case you're wondering what the photo was about, Bitwarden did send me some pens. So we do have focus. We're going to do some pen testing with Bitwarden. I love when any security product company sends me an ink pen. It always makes me happy. Yeah. Yes, I did something with SolarWinds. I don't have a link to it. You had to sign up beforehand. I don't know that you can sign up after. Did you walk here? Oh.
What hot sauce did you bring?
I didn't bring it. That one's already at home.
Good.
Yeah, it's already at home.
No, I meant which one
Here.
did you eat?
My son's here. That's what. Bitwarden and pen testing, absolutely. So I did. We had a few ideas for some WAP shirts, but we kind of decided that by the time they would lose context. I love one of the things I'm really trying to focus on, and this goes with my videos. This goes with especially when you think about shirt design or stickers. I want something that has what they refer to as an evergreen to it, which means it's content that lasts longer, that should be around. So while the whole WAP jokes and everything else were funny, they're quickly trending down where, I don't know, they lack the same amusement they had previously. So I try to figure out stuff that it would be funny, not because it's related to a current topic joke, but because it's a tech humor thing, which trying to focus like that's obviously limited to come up with things. So Aruba Gigabit is a sand switch. If you like it, use it. Aruba doesn't make bad equipment, so is there a way to look back up a Ubiquiti UDM Pro footage? Through the Protect you can. I don't know how, other than by date and time context, I don't know how else you would look it up. Okay, we can do that. We can swap. We can just reuse the shirt, and Raid is not a backup, and put that on there. So, anyways, like I said at the beginning, and I'll follow it up here at the end. First, bash the like button. 204 concurrent viewers, according to this. 241 concurrent. Actually, this is confusing. Why does it have a different number at the top here, but a different number here? But what we could do is click that like button over here. If we can bash that. Do I have stickers? No. Well, maybe. Maybe? Oh, look at that. We'll just hold cards up. Just bash the like button. Anyways, bash the like button. Oh, is there a way to offsite UDM Pro footage? No official way is supported. There's hacky ways to do it, but there's no official way to do it. Yeah. Oh, USB-C charging. You know, if Apple really wanted to be more efficient, instead of like not packaging a cord, couldn't they have just, I don't know, used USB-C and everyone now has the same standard? That would just make more sense. You know, I think as spammers come into my channel or my live streams, that must mean I'm getting more popular, right? On Synology, backing up Homes folder from one Synology to another so I can use the data in both. Well, do you want to synchronize it or be able to use it? If you synchronize data, that's so you can edit it. It's edit in all places. The other option is like just doing the, I forget the name of it, the Synology backup tool that synchronizes two of them. You can sync if you want to sync them, I think SyncThing works on Synology. I'll look real quick. SyncThing is my go-to because it just works so well. SyncThing, I've never tried it on Synology, but says it's there. So looks like it's supported. I haven't, like I said, I haven't tried SyncThing on Synology, but a quick Google search says it works. Okay, so other people say it works. You can use rsync as well, but rsync is a little bit different. Rsync's great for starting here and ending there. I love rsync, but SyncThing is a real-time document management that works really well for, I edited here, I need it synchronized with all my other places as soon as they open up. SyncThing you can look at as Dropbox. So if you mirror how Dropbox works, SyncThing works much the same way as Dropbox. Do I get conflicted copy? I can if two people try to edit the file. Yes, that will definitely cause it. That is just not a problem that occurs very often because we rarely have two people working on the same file. So it's not an often, yeah. Let's see. SyncThing is sync. Rsync is one-way copy. That's yeah. We're talking about the same thing, huh? What's the reason for not finishing the Power Edge series? I'm not sure what you're asking. I did a video on the Power Edge. I was going to do more setup videos. I just ran out of time before I had to ship it somewhere else. So I didn't really have, I did a handful of setup videos on it. I think I was going to use it for the free NAS, the true NAS video I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something else instead. So I'm not sure. I mean, I reviewed it. I don't know. I always get confused of what people want because I had a comment the other day where someone says, all you did was talk about it. You didn't really review it. And I'm like, I said, I've actually replied for said, what is it that you want? And they didn't reply. And I'm like, I don't know exactly. That's why I tell people have a more engaging discussion in my forums where you can articulate exactly what you'd like me to make a video about. And sometimes I do say no, but at least I understand what someone's asking. So that's the bigger thing is I'm not always clear on what someone wants me to do. Well, sometimes I am. They want me to do a video on OpenSense at least once a week. And I always say no, I just don't have a use case for that. A handful of people want me to do a video on Telegram, I think it is. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? I don't use Telegram. So low latency YouTube. I always use low latency YouTube. YouTube's random of how good the stream is. Let's see. SyncThing plus file versioning, ransomware sync protection, kind of. You can go back and restore. It's kind of a clunky way to do it. So maybe it works as long as the threat actors, if they're inside your network, didn't shut down SyncThing to stop it from happening. So it's fuzzy. Yeah, signals, I don't know. I mentioned ransomware with Zfs Snapshots being a little bit better. And that it's just easier to restore an entire, especially when you talk about an event like a ransomware event, There's a date and time that it happened. And rolling back a bunch of versioned files can be a little tricky in SyncThing. I know there's ways to do it in group, but when you're doing it inside of ZFS, it's kind of easy. You're like, that folder needs to be rolled back to this date before we had this problem. And you just restore and away you go. Nextcloud is one of them people ask me to do a lot more videos on. I don't use it, so my videos are very basic. Like, I do it because there's enough people ask, and I think enough people like Nextcloud. My other problem is I can't tell if I'm contributing to the security problems on the internet, because I make tutorials of how to set it up. People expose it to the internet. They don't update it. It gets hacked. And now I've created one more piece of the botnet by suggesting they use something that they're not prepared to update. That's why I've been prefacing my videos like, you should learn how to update this and make this work properly. Yeah, Nextcloud, I mean, it's not a bad product. I've had people, like David said, that it can be quirky. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's not something... Nextcloud with 0 tier is probably a better solution, because you aren't then publicly exposing it, so just use that. But then the problem people have, and someone came at me with this, they really wanted to hire us to set up a Nextcloud server at their firm so they could share documents. But they didn't want to pay any ongoing maintenance fees to anyone to deal with updating it. And they also had no idea how to update themselves. They just were trying to not pay Microsoft or Google. And I'm like, it's just a matter of time before you end up getting hosed. Like, it's just... They were trying to avoid paying recurring fee. I'm like, you're going to have to either A, keep it up to date yourself, or you pay someone else to keep it up to date. And they didn't want to do either solution. And I'm like, well, I mean, we'll do it, but we're going to tell you it's a terrible idea. And they also want security guarantees, because they were sharing private documents. And I'm like, this seems like a recipe for disaster. So. Nextcloud versus public cloud. It kind of depends on your use case. I see SyncThing for, using it. Not that Nextcloud and SyncThing are the same thing, but one of the things is, like, I don't want my documents shared out publicly. That's why I use them on SyncThing. The reason we use Google Docs, we use G Suite all the time. Matter of fact, we just had a conversation and with one of our clients. We have a shared document. It's got all the IP schema for all their buildings in it, and we real-time collaborated on a G Suite, because I need them to have that document. I needed them to fill that document out. That back and forth conversation is really, really easy to have with the client when they have a same spreadsheet, and in real time, we're putting in information that we have, they're putting information they have, filling in the gaps so we can keep the project moving forward. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my tabs over here. There are pinned documents that I have that are real-time collaborative efforts I'm working on for a few projects. G Suite makes that easy, and you could argue Microsoft does too with their sharing. That's fine too. But there is a need to have a collaborative thing. Even myself, knowing I know how to update Nextcloud and know I could set it up so I could share documents with clients on it, it is not as nice, in my opinion, or feature-rich as I get from G Suite or Office 365, and I don't want to have one more thing on my list of things to maintain. So, yeah. Next Computers. Yes, I do. Next Computers is interesting. That was Steve Jobs' company for a little while after he left Apple. Yeah, Microsoft. Yeah, the Office bill gets expensive. So I have found a lot of people. I don't use it, so I don't know, and I always have a hard time separating: are they experienced users or are they basic users who are just having trouble? I don't know, but I see people complain about it a lot, and they contact us wanting us to troubleshoot their setup issues. But I don't, And that's one of those things that sometimes people contact us for, or I should say they tag me in Twitter, and I just redirect. I redirect everyone on our website. We have a hiring process on our website for hire us to do work. It's called Hire Us. It's a button at the top of our website. And a lot of people just send so many emails to us and wonder why we ignore them. It's because of the volume at which they come. And also people guess incorrectly email addresses because we don't bounce emails. That's something I don't do. So people don't know if they got an email address right. And that's on purpose. It doesn't, that way they think they're getting it. And they just go, I mean, I looked today, I think I got another 50-something spam messages in that box that collects all the emails. Because they just end up in spam, and that's where a lot of stuff goes. And I see some people in there that just are asking questions randomly, and it's like, look, there's a process. We go through the process because when you have a lot of people that want to contact you, you have to put it in process or it'll never get done. And it always starts out with, especially when people tag me in Twitter a lot or DM me, hey, I have a quick question, and it'll dump like 4 pages of their details of their network. Where should I change the rule? It's just not working. And I'm like, I don't have time to answer all of these. It's just, I'm always polite when people message me, but I'm also realistic that I can't, it's just not within the realms to answer every question. Anyways, getting way off topic. How do you handle ransomware? You reload. I didn't look at his latest post. So what did Krebs have to say? Let's pull it up together. Because that's the last thing we'll talk about. Then I'm going to wander off. And was it, we'll bring it over in a window over here. Was it this? Credible ransomware threat against U.S. hospitals, one source says Iraq. Ransomware. Krebs had said something else he said earlier, too. They were warning imminent, and they got ignored. Maybe that's what you're talking about, too. It's a mess. How's that? I don't know what else to say about it. It's a mess. How's that? What's the best link aggregation router? I hardly ever use link aggregation in a router. Switches, yes. Routers, no. So Azure AD, I don't know, it's complex, but it works. SMTP relay. We use Mailgun for my forums. So actually, if you want an idea, so we get about, on busy times, about 2,000 users a day. Or 3,000 users a day, and then the crawler is 1,800. So we get about 3,000 users a day. But one of the other things is the volume of emails this send. Maybe I've been wanting to do a follow-up video because I really like the system we're using here. But anyways, the forums, forums.lawrencesystems.com, absolutely, Mailgun has been great for this because we send a volume of emails. So I may... I was thinking about it because it's been a little while since I've had the forums. 1, I'm happy with their growth. 2, definitely will say that they have done wonderful in terms of the sending of Mailgun and how it sends emails and the integration. That's gone really, really well. And I want to do a follow-up on that because Discourse is becoming more and more popular, and I think it's a great system. Yeah, Harrison say Azure AD is great, easy. It's popular. Azure AD is what it is. It's kind of you're going to learn it if you keep working in the corporate IT world, or you're going to have a big knowledge gap about the corporate IT world. I personally don't use it. We do Azure AD stuff, as in Lawrence Technologies, and Tom does not. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Mailgun, SendGrid, Postmark. We went with Mailgun because of its integration and its API. It works really well with Discourse, my forum software. So it was like a recommended. It was an easy drop in and get set up. So it worked really well. Discourse is hosted in DigitalOcean. It's a DigitalOcean droplet. It gets too much it uses, not a lot, but it uses a lot of bandwidth, and I don't host it here at our office. I'll also, before I wander off, mention Discord. I do have a Discord server that I've been really trying to be more social in. I'll mention that I have it. It's not real active with me, but there are a lot of users in there, so I'll bring it up. We also finally got around to doing this. Oh, I gotta log in. I'll mention because my son wanted me to mention it because my son likes Discord quite a bit. Where is the login for this? I feel old with technology because I'm just not great at using Discord. My son teaches me more about it. But I'm also very willing to learn. So it's mostly, my ignorance of it is mostly just because I don't use it. I'm not as big of a real-time chat person as I am a, where's it at? There's the Lawrence Systems one. Mr. Tom is live on YouTube. This is the Discord channel, but I created some more places here. So I got storage, firewalls, I created what do you call them? Chat groups, categories, whatever you want to call them inside of Discord. So I do have a Discord server. I believe there's a link below for that. So for those of you that's looking for it, but don't expect me to be in there, and it's random if I'll reply to things. Just I'm all about my forums because the forums are indexed, searchable, and easy for me to follow, and I just like forums. But I'm not a big user of them because real-time chat is hard because it's random for me. Do a video on Discord. I'm old and don't know how it works. Yeah, that's me. That's my son's first video. You're probably not wrong. Yeah, my son likes calling me on Discord, so yes. I see more people joining it. So yes. Here. You teach me how to use Discord, right?
Yeah.
Is it tough teaching your old man how to use technology? What? Oh, no, not yet. We'll do that soon. My son thinks we need a meme channel, so I'm like...
You do!
Do we need a meme channel? Is that how this works?
Yes!
Because I'm old, I like forums. Maybe. Yeah. My problem is I don't mind participating in conversations on Discord, but the problem is when I go to the forums, I go through everything, I make sure I reply to everyone, I organize all the data, I put all the concise things in there, responses, which is why when I was showing off the admin section here, you notice how all these crawlers hit this? That's because many times people's discovery of things is because the web index that it creates, which is a solution to people's problem. They searched for a problem they had. The problem matched a forum post in Tom's forums that led to a discussion that had the result in it that someone was looking for an outcome. This is kind of the ecosystem that I like. That was pretty cool. So that was, the way I like it to work. Discord's cool because it's just chat. I just don't like trying to answer everybody's questions in it because it's a lot harder.
I'll answer them.
My son will try to answer questions. Yeah. Shared meme hosting. Tom just described workflow. Yes. I don't know. And if someone wants to tag me, Twitter is my easy way to communicate. Twitter, if you know, and maybe there is some way to integrate the two that is rational and makes sense. I don't know. Integrating Discord into Discourse. Is there a way to integrate these things? I first should spell them right. Oh. Apparently there's a Zapier integration in here. Add new I like this, actually. This seems like a good integration. I'm glad you guys brought this up. So yes, apparently there's a way to do it. So Tom will have to work on some of that. So maybe that will help. One is real time, one is not. But if my posting of something in the forums then kicks off a real time conversation that people want to engage with, and it brings more people back over there going, hey, I'd like to answer that person's question. I think it may be an enhanced user experience. So maybe I'm wrong and everyone can tell me that. And I'm okay with being wrong. I sometimes do have to rely on social interactions with people to determine whether or not I'm really wrong about something. I don't mind. I don't mind being wrong about things. I wish more people are like that. I've seen people double down on dumb ideas even after even they should have realized it's a dumb idea. I try not to be that person. I evaluate the data around me. I will then, reevaluate it, reassess it, apply scientific method as best possible, and determine whether or not it needs to be done. Also, I didn't say it, but Vincent C., thank you very much for the donation. So it is greatly appreciated. Sorry I didn't say it when I seen that was bouncing around there. Everyone asks, I'm actually going to make a video, because even though I brought it up in my other video, I'll make a video titled, because it's such a popular question, how did you get your first client? And it's a boring story, so it'll be a short video. My first client was my old employer. So pivoting them over, I'll do a short video maybe about that, but that way I can title it that. And when people search my channel, how did Tom get his first client? They can find out how Tom got his first client. It's not super exciting. Yes, you post the wrong answer. Specifically, Harrison, you need to post the wrong answer on the internet and let the internet correct you. So find the most wrong version of something, say it on the internet, and enough people will correct you with the right version. Yeah. So that's trust me, you're never as wrong as when you're wrong on the internet, but sometimes you're wrong on the internet so you can get the right answer. That's a good way to put it. I think that's it. I do have some things I have to go to. I've Italy or Mexico or Italy colors. That's interesting. Oh, good. My wife shared a spreadsheet with me too. This is the new house project spreadsheet. She started writing things down on paper because that's what my wife does. But yeah. Anyways, well, I'm gonna get working on my next thing, and it's fun because I'm now watching. Yes, I'm watching both. I'm watching over here and over here. So I should pull this up. How can I do this? What? That's a mess. We can merge all these into one. We'll merge them into this one. No, stop. There we go. These are those tabs I'm talking about. So here, I'm over here. Look, Mom, I'm on TV. So I figured I'd post the forums, and then this is the live stream here. There we go. And I forgot how I break these up. Now I made a different mess. I got to do a video on how all this works, because now I'm going to get confused. Yeah, it's key S for the win. I really like the way this works for separating these things out. Actually, I can probably just drag it back over here. Well, that's a problem. Well, that didn't work. I'll file a bug report. Oh well, I can switch between them like this. Whee! All right, I'm getting distracted. I got to get back to work on doing a few other things and finishing some things at my new house. Steve, one of my staff who you may have seen before, he just dropped off a rack at my house because, well, we're going to put a rack in the basement. We're going to put some stuff in down there. I don't have a ton of things that I have at home, but what we do have, we're going to make it nice. And we're going to talk about how we do some of the wiring and things like that too. So the Pittsburgh toilet. So I know my wife doesn't watch the live stream. So my goal for the Pittsburgh toilet is to just install it and not tell her at all. It's just going to be there one day. And if she ever, which she doesn't really have a reason to go in the basement. Nothing's down there. And so what will happen is she'll just discover one day there's a toilet in the basement. And that'll be it. That'll just be a thing. Did I have a picture? I thought I took a picture of the basement the other day. Maybe I didn't. Oh, right here. That's what the basement looks like. It's just big. This is before we moved in. We moved everything downstairs. So there's plumbing. That little spot right here. There's plumbing already here for where the Pittsburgh's going to go, and it's just going to go in there. And we'll put it next to the server because that seems like a fun thing to do. What else do we have here? Hey, someone yelled open sense, of course. What else do we have? Thumbs up, people. We need more blue bins. Oh, I know. There's a lot of blue bins down there. This is what it looked like when I moved my house. This is, actually, you might be interested. I'll give them a plug on this. They're probably not in everyone's area. This is my friend's company, and you rent crates from them. You go residential or office, and they give you all the crates, and away you go. So you get a 4-bedroom house, you rent everything, and done. You pack your life up in a box, and then you move to the new house. So it's pretty cool. Oh, let's see. Yes, the server. Well, the server would become a crap post hub. Oh, let's see what else. Well, it's a loot crate. Yes. Do you recommend running Windows using VirtualBox? Yeah. Works great. That's actually how I run it. When I run Windows, it's using VirtualBox. So that's true. But yeah, once we're done, because let me find what the other videos are. This is what we were doing yesterday. Pulling the wires through. Look from here. We're doing speaker wire, cabling, all kinds of fun stuff. Of course, the infamous stick through the wall. That's the exciting part when you finally get it through there. I hate doing residential. I hate doing some of the wiring stuff, but I didn't do much video of that part. We have more to do, so we'll talk about it. But this is the only one of the few photos I took when I first just opened up. I'll do a couple photos for people interested. Maybe I'll post something on my personal. Maybe I'll post it on my Twitter for those of you that want to follow me there. It's off topic for me just to sit and talk about any of the house stuff, but all that fun stuff. Let's see. Yeah, no cardboard when you move out doing that. That's easier. So, randomized MAC address. World of hell for pay Wi-Fi portals. Pay Wi-Fi portals are a world of hell anyways, and they're stupid. I avoid them. The house is new because it was built in 2019. Enough wall plates? Never. There's plugs everywhere. The house was built in 2019. Once I get all the tech set up in a house, maybe I'll do a tech tour of it because I'm probably going to build a studio set up for my home because I may move my office there. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. There's a lot. There's a lot to do. All right. Thank you for everyone for joining. It went a little bit longer than expected because I have a few more things to go do. So it is greatly appreciated. And I will talk to everyone later. Hit the forums, hit the Discord. Maybe I'm in there. Tag me in Twitter if you've got suggestions and things you want to do. And we'll go from there. Yeah, oh, as long as I keep it on topic of tech stuff, I think people follow me. So as long as it's tech topics, I try to keep focused on that. Personal stuff occasionally goes on my Twitter, but you know, I'm kind of, most of my life revolves around doing tech stuff. So 96 likes. Can we get it over 100? Oh, we're at 98. Can I see over 100 before we stop the stream? Can we do it? 98. We're stuck. Look at this. 102. All right, that's good. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the people bashing and clicking on the like button. Forum posts and Discord. There's in Twitter. Ways to find me. All right, thanks.